Welcome to the Main Basketball Rankings podcast. I am your host, basketball data nerd Lucas McNelly, and I've got the Bills Ravens game on in the background, and the Bills just recovered that onside kick, and I can't believe Andrews dropped that 2 point conversion. Holy hell! Yeah, that's over. They're picking up a first down. Okay, so Bills move on. Bills Chiefs go Bills. And all right, so let's do the show. So it was a bit of a weird week, for so many ways. So let's just sort of run through it. Mudgden scored, blew out Van Buren, 101-17. So Facebook got upset about that because, oh my gosh, the audacity of scoring in triple digits and beating a team by a lot. It's all very stupid, and it's all very Facebooky, and it's all very Karen-y. Um, Especially since we have these other scores. I think later in the week, someone won 69-2, and you didn't hear anything about it because that triple digit just like blows people's minds. It's very weird. But the big thing is we've had a couple of these already. We had, of course, the big Oceanside Belfast brouhaha last year, in which the adults just covered themselves in glory, front and back. So these blowouts are going to be expected. So I watched this game. I watched it in the background, but still I watched it because I think it's important to watch these games if you're going to opine on them, and if you're going to give your hot takes, and if you're going to write 1,500 words in the newspaper about it. I think you owe the players that common courtesy of watching the game, which is to say that a lot of people didn't watch that Oceanside Belfast game, and I know this for a fact because it's almost impossible to find video archives on of Oceanside games. And most people, when you ask them, said, no, I didn't watch it, but I, saw the score and all that. And really, none of the people who made that whole thing blow up and be so stupid and such a time waste and really put a lot of kids in a really bad situation of all year having to answer questions about it or being made fun of and things like that. None of those adults watched it. None of them. Zero. Maybe some of the people, like obviously, the Oceanside coaches watched it because they were there. But the people who were causing the problem, none of them watched the game. I promise you. I watched the game, but none of them did. Anyway, Hodgson. So Hodgson is just bigger than Van Buren. I'm going to throw up this here if you're watching this. Okay, so this was before the game even starts. Hodgson, third in the state in scoring at 73.2 points a game, eighth in scoring defense at 39.4 points a game. Van Buren averaging 22.9 points a game, which is 128th. That's basically last in the state. And they are 124th in the state in scoring defense at 66.2 points a game. So it's kind of like in Fight Club, when Project Mayhem and Bob get shot and Edward Norton's like, you're running around with hoodies and ski masks in the dark, blowing things up. What did you think was going to happen? If you're going to have Hodgson play Van Buren, this is what's going to happen. There's no real way around it, So I watched it, and Van Buren or Hodgson was bigger. They were stronger. They were faster. They were deep into their bench very early and very often. They weren't pressing. They were playing straight up defense, stealing the ball, running down the floor, and getting a layup. And that was basically the game. And the JVs were doing it just as much as the varsity was. Everyone on it's just, you can't ask kids to not play basketball. And do you really want to encourage them to just sit there and like pass the ball around 15 times and run a stall? That's not any better anyway. And I'll just say this as someone who was on a team when I was younger that got blown out a lot. It sucks to get blown out a lot, but what sucks more is when the other team is clearly not trying and has so little respect for you that they're just going to stand, run a stall, or pass the ball 20 times before they shoot, or anything like that, or just stops playing defense because they have so little respect for your ability to play basketball. That is so much worse than losing 110-5 or whatever, because, it's so insulting. And it's so insulting to hear people talk about it that way, and it just drives me crazy. And, I mean, don't cry for me. I want a state title, but still, in the moment, it's awful. And it's worse if they just treat you like the little kid who's like the special needs kid in the viral video who had leukemia all year or whatever, and they're like was the manager, and they're just like backing off and letting him walk up to the basket and take 4 shots, and then the defensive player grabs the rebound and hands it to him. That's what you feel like. It's terrible. So anyway, stop complaining about this stuff. All right, so let's go to a highlight from this is from Tuesday, I think. Let me find it. All right, here we go. How about that, right? That's by they're from if I said that right, from Old Town. And sometimes people go, "Hey, why don't you show my video or this video?" And it's really simple. The selection process is very rigorous. You have to send me a clip that you own the rights to and give me permission to do it. That's pretty much it. It's not complicated, and then the play has to be cool. I'm not gonna just dribbling the ball out. And then also the other part of this criteria I should mention is that I have to remember it because things get sent to me in like 52 places, and then I'll write the newsletter, and then I'll like a day later I'll go, oh right, someone sent me the thing of the thing and the okay. So it's 2-part criteria is 3-part. It has to be cool. You have to give me permission to use it because you can't just, contrary to what some people think, you can't just pull things off the internet and pass them off as your own or just share them because that's kind of a dick move. And then I have to, remember that you sent it to me and then be able to go find it, not have any technical difficulties in the whole thing. But there's no real like selection process beyond that. Okay. So anyway, send more cool things. All right. So then Tuesday, my week was weird. I'll just say this, get this out of the way. My week was weird because I had jury duty this week. And so that like, you can't use your phone all day. And so I think I missed a lot this week. And it wasn't normal jury duty. It was grand jury duty, which is worse kind of and better kind of. It's a whole thing. Anyway, I was sort of out of the loop during the day for most of the week. So Tuesday, I went down to Falmouth because I was in jury duty. I was already halfway there. And I went to Falmouth for the game of the day, Windham at Falmouth. Obvious pick for the game of the day, very high profile thing. And I'm going to play this video here that I do these stand-up things, game previews before games that I go to, mostly for Facebook engagement. It's a whole thing. But anyway, here we go.
I'm in Falmouth for the game of the day between Falmouth and Windham. You can see Falmouth warming up behind me. They're wearing these WWPD shirts in honor of Pat Moody. They're raising money for the Pat Moody Foundation, Windham's foundation that is benefiting youth sports, and I accidentally wore this shirt today. Completely didn't even realize I was going to this game tonight. As for the game itself, Falmouth is weirdly kind of locked into their seeding. They're going to be the 2 seed in A South unless something absolutely bonkers happens. Which is a weird thing to say with 7 games left in the season. As for Windham, they've got a pretty good handle on the 1 seed in Double A North. They are the defending champions, of course. They are one of the top scoring teams in the state, led by Grady Dixon. They are 5th in the state in scoring. This should be a great game. Falmouth just knocked off Noble the other day by 3. These are 2 really good teams. Both of them playing really well right now. And I'll have live stats on the website for you as we have a big day of games from around the state.
Okay. So I'm not showing that to just show you another version of me talking because no one needs that. But the Pat Moody Foundation is very cool. It was started by Chad Polkinen, the Windham coach who's been on the show. And so basically what they're doing is they're raising money for youth sports. And I know what you're thinking, oh, they're just raising money for Windham youth sports. But no, they're not. They are raising money for youth sports around the state. They've been giving some money out. I heard about a couple of things, and I don't want to misrepresent what they were, so I won't say them. But it was definitely not Windham only. It was other programs. There was something about shoes and a whole thing. And really anytime we can raise more money for youth sports, That's obviously a good thing. Obviously benefits high school basketball, which if you're watching this, you tend to probably care about. So it's a very good cause. And Falmouth was also raising money that night. All the concession money from the game went to the Pat Moody Foundation. So kudos to my friends at Falmouth for doing that. That's very, very cool of them. As for the game itself, the game was awesome. And I figured it would be awesome because Windham and Falmouth are very talented. Windham got out to an early start, and then Falmouth battled back and sort of started to pull away. And Davis Mann for Falmouth, I don't know if you've seen him play. He's great. He does these like, it's probably best described as like old man basketball, which is going to sound like an insult, but it's not. It does this thing where he'll like stop and then start and then hesitate and then like shift a little bit. And it's just sort of the thing that you play and pick up with an old dude and you just can't, he just keeps getting his shot off and you're like, what am I doing wrong? I'm all over this guy. But he just finds a crafty little way to make you miss. And he sort of has that element to his game, which is a lot of fun to watch. And then, so Falmouth gets up 15 and with 5 minutes left, and you think it's a wrap. And Windham just flipped a switch defensively. They were absolutely everywhere. All arms and legs, just in every passing lane, stripping the ball all over the place. They forced 9 turnovers by Falmouth in the fourth quarter alone. They got a little lucky on a play that you may have heard of where AJ Moody got a steal in the backcourt and it bounced off the official, and the official's in play. He's on the floor. He's part of the playing surface, and Moody was able to go track it down, got it to Crady Dixon. Dixon got a layup, and that gave them the lead for good. Really, really good game. 75-72 was the final of that one. Also on Tuesday, what happened is the reclassification plan came out. You might remember the reclassification plan because I did a podcast on it on December 19th, and they basically, that's what they announced. So you already knew all about it like a month earlier because I told you about it and I had the information. So here's where we are in reclassification. Everybody's seen the plan, and now everyone's going from, yeah, Lucas has got something to, oh, wait, that's actually the thing. Okay. And now people are taking it more seriously, but just saying. Okay, so I'm going to read what I wrote in the newsletter because I want to get this right because it's a weird process and it's a little complicated. So they finished the first draft of the proposal and sent it to classification for feedback on Tuesday. This is this past Tuesday. And that feedback ended up being minimal because it was a good plan. That's really why. Yeah, that'll now go to the schools, et cetera, for feedback. After that feedback process, they will meet again. There'll probably be, if I remember correctly from 2 years ago, I think it was early February because it was before the tournament, that meeting. I'm pretty sure it was before the tournament because I was trying to hunt down this plan during the tournament. So maybe it was after the tournament. Anyway, this year they just sent it to me and I didn't have to go through all this effort, which is really very nice of them. Okay, they'll meet again. Maybe they'll change things. Maybe they won't. They probably won't change very much is my guess, as they've already gone through a lot of drafts and done a lot of different things and tried a bunch of different configurations to get to that point. To give you an idea on this, they sent me some earlier drafts and I've seen enough drafts that I saw the mid-coast teams, because the mid-coast teams are in a weird spot because they're sort of equidistant between Bangor and Portland and Augusta, and so it's tricky to know if they're north or south or whatever. So I saw a plan where they all went to Portland. I saw a plan where they were split up. I saw a plan where they all went to Augusta. I saw a plan where they all went to Bangor. And I said, please, God, no, that's a terrible drive. So just to give you an idea, that's the variance there. They're going to approve that proposal and they will send it to the basketball committee for a vote and then to classification. And then people will complain about it on Facebook, which is the most important step, is that people get to complain about it on Facebook. All right, let's hit another highlight. That's Mary Allen of Central getting her 1,000th point, thanks to Abby Allen and her father John for sending it to me. And then this one is out of Maranacook. This is Mitchell Makeda. Nearly had a triple-double. 10 block shots, 12 rebounds, and 8 points. And it's very rare to not get the triple-double because you didn't get the points. So, but this is one of the blocks, and, well, you'll more hear than see why this isn't here. That is a smack of a block shot. You really got blocked in that one. And then we're going to move over to Lincoln Academy and Oceanside. There's so much stuff that happens in the week, but like I said, I was in jury duty, and this is what I was able to pay attention to. I went to Lincoln Oceanside because their first game was a thriller. Zeb Foster won it at the buzzer, but then I got there and I found out that Zeb Foster wasn't there because he was sick. And that changes things significantly. If you've seen Oceanside play, he's their point guard. He's their defensive catalyst. He's very difficult to guard. Very fun to watch. And so really without him, it was kind of all Lincoln Academy. And I think the story of the game is two things. It's one, it's the Hunt brothers played really well. They're so in sync, especially Drew Hunt had a great game, huge first half when it was in doubt. And then Terry Welly, who has been a little bit of a project for them, had a big second half. I think he had 16 and 8, something like that. But he was really the thing that helped them put the game away. And a really impressive turnaround from him this year from when I saw him earlier in the season. So kudos to him. And so then I talked to Drew Hunt after the game. I tried to do this also with Crady Dixon after the Windham game, but something happened with the microphone and it got all garbled, so I didn't use it this time, and it turned out better. So this is a little longer, but we'll go to Drew Hunt.
Drew Hunt is here from Lincoln Academy, 76-51 win over Oceanside. How's it feel?
Really good. They hit that game winner on us, so we kind of want to get a little revenge and get back at them a little bit because they gave a big blow to us last time, so it's good to get back at them.
Yeah. So the who hit that shot wasn't here tonight. How does that change the approach?
I mean, our coach said, even though their best player's not there, it seems we got to beat them by more. We can't just settle for, if their best player's gone, we can't just stop. We got to keep pushing forward. And, even if he's not there, we got to make the lead even bigger because he's not here. You got to, take care of business.
I mean, you see in the NBA all the time, Giannis is out and all of a sudden some guy off the bench has 30.
Yeah, I mean, Kingsbury, I thought, played really well. I mean, he didn't shoot great, but he had a lot of big impact plays, steals, defensive effort. Same as Jackson Cade, both did really good stuff for their team. But Zeb definitely, runs the offense and he greases the wheels a little bit. So him not being there definitely impacted it. But we still came out, took care of business, and had a good win tonight.
So you had 20 points and 7 assists, 4 rebounds. You were kind of all over the place. Is that pretty close to your career high?
I would, if not career high, it's definitely up there. I mean, it's got to be one of the highest ones I've had. It was nice. My shot time was falling. I've been tweaking a lot this season, so it's been kind of hard to find rhythm. But tonight, it all fell for me. It felt good.
Talk a little bit about Terry Welly. He had a big second half and had a big game in the first game against Oceanside.
First game, he had 26. He was absolutely dominant. He's probably the most athletic big you'll see probably in the mid-coast here besides Gabe Lash. And, when you give him the ball to paint, if he gets a clean touch on it, he's going to make a great move and hopefully benefit our team in every way he can. So to have him on our team, we're really lucky. I mean, he's from Uganda, so he's not from around here, and he picked up our system so quick and stuff. So he's been a big impact for us.
So this is a year in transition for you guys. You lost pretty much everyone out of last year's starting lineup and all the scoring. But you and your brother have really stepped up and taken over some of the scoring load. What's that been like?
Yeah, it's been obviously a challenge. You could tell the first half season we definitely had a huge learning curve. I mean, losing 5 seniors, 2 of them playing college basketball now. They're high quality players. So having to step up, and it wasn't just us alone. We have Chase Coffin, Terry Welly, Tyson Ball. They all help us, and I think our team's biggest strength is that, tonight, any player can step up for us. EJ could have 20, I could have 20, Terry Welly could have 28 any given night. Chase Coffin had 26 versus Winslow. It could be anybody going off, so you can't just stick your best defender on one guy. We can move the ball and hit shots from anywhere on the floor.
how big was the win at Spruce for your confidence?
Huge. Because we lost, Oceanside had to hit that game where to beat us, and we lost Dominic. We beat teams we were supposed to, but we hadn't beat a team that was, at our level or that we weren't supposed to beat yet. So to go out to Spruce and, I fouled out and, our guy came out the bench, Chase over, he had big minutes, and, for EJ to hit that shot and for us to win that game, that was huge. Because, heel points-wise, I think we have a chance to be a 3 seed. It's unlikely, but...
Very small chance.
Small chance, but, at least gives us hope and something to fight for the rest of the season, not just settle. And, that Spruce win was, it was amazing. We were down by 1. He missed that shot, that game's over. So, for EJ to hit that shot, it was really big for us.
So you might get these guys again in the quarterfinal. That's your most likely opponent, either them or Yarmouth. Do you want them or do you want Yarmouth because are you tired of them?
There's obviously a little bit of familiarity, which can go both ways. Maybe it helps them because they know how we play and what we do on offense and defense, so they're prepared for us. But Yarmouth, obviously, the unknown is a little bit worrisome. So, and Yarmouth's got some very long, athletic kids. So, I'd say we'll just take whoever we get, and hopefully we just take care of business when we get there.
All right, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I wanted to include that because I thought he spoke really well and articulate about basketball and their season and what they're going through, and I was just impressed with the interview, and I'm trying to do more of these if my microphone will cooperate. Okay, so let's go. Let's go to the top 10. Let's go to the top 15. All right, girls up first. We do 11 through 15 just so you can complain. If you limit the number of people who complain about not being in the top 10, because they go, oh, I was 11th. Okay, that's fine. Girls, 15 is Windham, 14 is Mount View, 13 is Spruce Mountain, 12 is Madomic Valley. I just want to say that for the past, I swear, week and a half, 2 weeks, Madomic and Spruce have been next to each other, have been flip-flopping back and forth, and it's just very rare. It almost never happens in this model. Number 11 is Chevres. Number 10 is Edward Little. They're up 3 spots. They're 9-3. They're plus 178. They beat Lewiston 75-16. Jeez, no one's complaining about that on Facebook though. They beat Westbrook 48-34. They allow 35 points a game, which is 25th best in the state. And this is going to be a fun week for them. They got Mount Ararat and they got Oxford Hills. So, oof. Number 9 is Coney. They dropped 2 spots. They're 12-1. They're plus 240. They won at Meso 60-38, and then they won at Mount Blue 88-17. They score 60.2 points a game. That's 6th best in the state, and they are 14th in point differential. And this week they have Gardner. Number 8 is G&G. They dropped 2 spots in 3. They're plus 184. They lost at Mount Ararat 38-49. They allow 36.2 points a game on the season. That is the best in Class A. They are idle this week, so they might drop out of the top 10. That's just how it works. You're not accumulating any new points, really. Number 7 is Madeline Dupre and Caribou. They move up 4 spots into the top 10. They are 12-1 on the season. They are plus 316. They beat Fort Kent 70-29. They beat Herman 48-47, and that was that should have been a highlight in here, but I didn't get the video permission for the video. But Eastern Maine Sports has it on their Facebook page, so go find it. It's cool. It's a cool clip. Their percent perfect is 87.8. That's 4th best in the state, and they are 5th in point differential. Again, percent perfect. The most questions I get about any of the stats are percent perfect. You have X number of points available to you in the power rank for the power rankings based on your schedule. Think of it as the same hill points. You have only so many hill points available to you, and percent perfect is what percentage of those points available to you did you actually earn. So if you beat everybody by 40 every game, you would have a percent perfect of 100. And if you go 9-9 and every game's a 1-point game, then your percent perfect is probably going to be 50-ish, somewhere in there. All right. They're idle. They're also idle this week, so they're going to maybe fall back out. This is Lawrence. They dropped 3 spots. They're 11-0. They're plus 337, but they were idle, so that's why they dropped 3 spots. 69.6 points a game is 3rd best in the state. They're 3rd best in percent perfect at 94.7. Jeez. This week they have Oceanside on Monday, Camden Hills, and then they go to Mount Blue. Number 5 is Marshwood. They move up 3 spots. They're 12-1. They're plus 206. They beat York 87-43. They won a big game at Biddeford 53-50. They are 7th in the state in scoring at 58.2 points a game, and they're 4th in point differential in Class A. Only in Class A are they 4th in 206, which is all right. So this week they have Deering. Number 4 is Oceanside. No Bailey Breen, no problem. They're 10-2. They're plus 205. They won 9 straight. They won at Winslow 66-29. They beat Lincoln Academy 45-37. They score 57.7 points a game. That's 8th best. And their percent perfect is 74%. And yeah, this week, so they are at Lawrence, which will be a big test for them. And they have Morse at home, which will not. Number 3 is Mount Ararat. They move up 2 spots. They're 10-2, plus 217. They won at Greeley 54-28. They beat G&G 49-38. They're 10th in strength of schedule. They are 10th in points scored at 56.3 points a game. That's a tricky combination to pull off. To be top 10 in points scored and hardest schedule, that's something. This week they're at Edward Little and they are at Westbrook. Number 2 is Biddeford. They dropped 1 spot. They're 9-4, plus 164. They lost at Marshwood 50-53. Okay, so how? They are 7th in strength of schedule is how, and their percent perfect is 68.3, which is 21st best in the state. So I'm going to bring up a thing. So if you're just listening to this, my apologies. All right, so this is what a team's profile looks like just in the model. I hid some of the columns to clean it up a little bit, but that's sort of the information you're going with. So M Heel, the gray column, is how many points they earn towards the power rankings. So you can see their losses. I circled them. There's Brunswick. They lost to Brunswick when Brunswick was back when they had full strength. They only got 1.8 points for that because they only got 9.4% of that. And if you're not sure what that means, every game based on the score, you get an estimated expected winning percentage, which basically is based on that score and that score alone. What is the likelihood that you would win a rematch on a neutral floor? And so they lost to Brunswick 52-38 on the road. And so that means they would get a 9.4% chance of winning the rematch on a neutral floor based only on that. And that's what drives all of this. So they only got 9.4% of the 20 points that were available to them from Brunswick. That's the opponent PI there. That column is the total points available to them for each game. And that can change if you're home or away. So anyway, so you go down to the Sanford loss. They lost to Sanford. They got 18% of that. That's better, 3.9. But then you get these 2 later losses against number 3 and number 5 in the state. 42% against Mount Ararat and 33% against Marshwood. So Marshwood gave them 8.69 points and Mount Ararat gave them 10.81 points. That's more than they got for beating Thornton Academy. That's close to what they got for beating Massabesic, and starting to get up there to what they got for Westbrook and the other Massabesic game. More than they got for beating Westbrook the first time at home. So you can sort of see how a loss could help you, because I think losing by 3 to Mount Ararat on the road tells you so much more about a team than blowing out. Who've they blown out? Blowing out Kennebunk, for example. Although they got a lot of points for blowing out Kennebunk. But you get the idea. A close loss is more valuable information-wise than a win against a really bad team. So anyway, so that's how Biddeford's ranked so high, being 9-4. They also, really interesting schedule. I don't know if it was on that or not. I'm going to bring it up. Yeah, it was on there. Okay, so 8 games against AA. The rest of the games are against Class A. 0 games against Class B. They are in B South. So that's going to be really interesting come tournament time. Is it going to be, it's just It's just a mess. The MPA really should fix this and say, look, you got to play X number of games in your region. Like you just got to play somebody in your region, even if they're just say, even if it's 2-3 games, like doesn't have to be a lot. Something so that the other teams in the region have some point of reference. They're like, oh, well, we beat this team by 10 and they beat this team by 15. So okay. All right. So then number one, they this week also, to round them up, they're at Portland and they're at Noble. Number one is Oxford Hills. They move up one spot. They're 11-2. They're plus 212. They beat Cheverus. Big, huge win for them. 50-29 over Cheverus. That was one of those. Whew. They are 4th in strength of schedule. Somehow every year they have a ridiculous schedule. And they are 15th in percent perfect at 76.2. This week they're at Windham and at Edward Little, which is not an easy week. All right, so wrap that up. Windham, 15 is Windham, Mount View, Spruce, Madomic, Cheverus. Then 10th is Edward Little, 9th is Coney, 8th is GNG, 7th is Caribou, 6th is Lawrence, 5th is Marshwood, 4th is Oceanside, 3rd is Mount Ararat, 2nd is Biddeford, and 1st is Oxford Hills. On to the boys. Number 15, staying at 15, is Drew Hunt and the Lincoln Academy Eagles. Number 14 is Brewer. Number 13, so Brewer, I should have gone. If I had known Zeb Foster was sick, I would have gone to Brewer at Camden Hills. That was a game they won. But prior to that, they had lost a game, and that's kind of why they dropped. Anyway, number 13 is Ellsworth. Number 12 is Cheverus. Number 11 is Caribou. And Caribou is already yelling at me for being 11th on Facebook. It's on Facebook. You can go see it for yourself. It's just really spectacular. Okay. Top 10. Number 10 is Spruce Mountain. They move up one spot. They're 11-2. They're plus 325. They beat Maranacook 84-32, which was a score I had to double check. And then they won at Lisbon 84-27. They are 6th in the state in scoring at 69.8 points a game. They are 6th in point differential. This week they have Levitt, they have Mount Abram, and they will head to Madison. Number 9 is Mount Abram. Look at that. How convenient. They move up 3 spots. They're 13-1. They are plus 204. They lost to Monmouth 62-69, and then they handed it to Halldale at Halldale 66-47. And they beat Lisbon 67-40. I think they kind of moved up because they played 3 games, and a lot of teams around them didn't. That can happen. Where was I? They are 14th in the state in scoring at 65.1 points a game. They're percent perfect against teams in the top 50 is 77.3%. That's very good for top 50, but they have not played anybody in the top 25. But they're gonna. They will head to Spruce this week, and then they will head to Maranacook. Number 8 is Messalonsky. They drop 1 spot. They are 12-2. They're plus 80. They won at Coney 51-48. I was kind of surprised it was that close. They beat Gardner 67-50. Their percent perfect against the top 25 is 4.9%, which is 8th best in the state. And they have the 16th hardest schedule so far. This week they will host Camden. Number 7 is Thornton Academy. They move up 3 spots. They are 10-2. They are plus 112. They beat South Portland 38-33. They beat Portland 47-68. And I forgot to write down any interesting stats for them. But they have Wyatt Benoit, and he's really, really good. This week they are heading to Bonnie Eagle, and then they host Bangor. Number 6 is Manny Hidalgo and the South Portland Red Riots. Right? Is Red Riots? I get some of those mascots confused. Anyway, they're down to 1 spot. They're 10-3. They're plus 98. They lost to Wyatt Benoit and Thornton Academy 33-38, and then beat Deering 66-60. They are 2nd in the state in strength of schedule, and they have a percent perfect of 57.2%, which is 24th best in the state. And that's a very good percent perfect for the 2nd hardest schedule in the state. I lost my place. They this week will go to Gorham, and then they host Massabesic. Number 5 is Falmouth. They move up 1 spot despite the loss to Windham because they got points from it, because Windham's really good and Windham's worth a lot of points, and they only lost by 3 in a game in the 70s. So Falmouth lost to Windham 72-75. Then they beat Gorham 69-48. They are 2nd in Class A in scoring differential, and they are second in Class A in percent perfect at 62.3%. And if you really go see Davis play, it's fun. This week they will head to number 22 Greeley, and then they have Kennebunk. Number 4 is York, sticking steady at number 4. They're 13-0. They're plus 220, and I'm trying to get their podcast, and scheduling is a whole thing. And they beat Marshwood 49-45. They are 9th in the state in scoring at 66.8 points a game. They are first in the state against the top 25% perfect wise with 96.9% against top 25. That is really, really good. Those are the best teams in the state. There's 2 games in that sample too. My first thought was that maybe it's only 1 game. No, there's 2. It's Lincoln and somebody else. I forget who, but it's somebody pretty good. It might be Greeley actually. And then this week they will head to Trape. So they've only got Trape this week, so expect them to fall at least a spot. I would think Falmouth would pass them. Number 3 is Windham. They're holding steady at number 3. They are 12-1 plus 180. They beat Falmouth 75-72. They beat Bangor 81-65. They are 5th in the state in scoring at 71.2 points a game. They are 10th in percent perfect at 75.8. Their defense, when it's clicking, man, it's awesome. It's really awesome, and it's just swarming, and they're everywhere, and you're just praying for your life. This week, they will head all the way up to Oxford Hills, and then a big showcase against Cheverus later in the week. Number 2, falling 1 spot from the top, is Noble. They're 11-1. They are plus 174. They won at Massabesic 74-30, but more important than that, Jameer Rose won the Fitzpatrick Trophy today, I think. So yesterday, if you're listening to this, and that's awesome. Well deserved. Congratulations. He, I think, is the front runner for Mr. Basketball. And so then I asked Joe Bailey, who knows these things, like, because I'm kind of newish to really paying attention to football, and I was like, hey, when was the last time someone won the Fitzpatrick Trophy and Mr. Basketball? And the answer is never. Never been done. So we could be witnessing history before our very eyes, and you also should go see Jameer Rose play. If you can get to a Jameer Rose game, you should do it, because it is definitely worth the drive and the $4 plus whatever you spend on nachos. Noble is 16th in the state at scoring at 64 points a game. They are 7th in percent perfect at 81.2%. This week, they will play Biddeford and they will play Westbrook, both at home. So there's 2 more chances for you to watch Jameer Rose. Number 1, my team, the Madomic Valley Panthers, move up 1 spot. They are 13-0. They are plus 348 on the season, which... They beat Erskine this week, 78-46. They beat Winslow, 66-43. They are 7th in the state in points allowed at 38.8 points a game, which is not usually something you see in Class B. That's kind of a Class D thing. They are 5th in percent perfect at 89.3%, and they are 2nd in percent perfect against the top 25, just behind York at 96.6%, and that is in 4 games. I think Lincoln, Oceanside, Spruce, and Camden maybe, and they're going to have games again. So this week they have Belfast. This is the pink game, the Pause for a Cause pink out thing, where everybody, even Don Shields, wears pink, and Don Shields yelled at me for not wearing pink last year, and so I have to find pink, and it's tomorrow, and I don't have anything pink, so hopefully they'll still have some shirts on sale. But this is a great cause they've been doing for a couple years now. It's a boys-girls doubleheader, and everybody wears pink. They wear special pink uniforms. The other team usually wears pink in some way. Obviously, they can't both wear pink uniforms, but they'll wear like pink socks or something. And everyone tries to wear pink, and then they raise money for cancer research. I think it's for cancer research. It's something to do with cancer. It's against cancer. I know that. It is definitely an anti-cancer fundraiser. Don't let it get out there that I said it was a pro-cancer fundraiser, because it is not. It is against cancer, because obviously. But they raise a lot of money every year, and it's a lot of fun. And so if you're within the vicinity of Lincoln County, you should go to that. It's going to be a doubleheader with Belfast. And then later in the week, they will have a rivalry game with Lincoln Academy. So there's your top 15 for boys. Counting it off, number 15 is Lincoln Academy, number 14 is Brewer, number 13 is Ellsworth, number 12 is Cheverus, number 11 is Caribou. Number 10 is Spruce Mountain, number 9 is Mount Abram, number 8 is Messalonsky, number 7 is Thornton Academy, number 6 is South Portland, number 5 is Falmouth, number 4 is York, number 3 is Windham, number 2 is Noble, and number 1 is Madomic Valley. So that's pretty much going to do it. Yeah, if you haven't already subscribed to the site, you should do that because the tournaments are coming. And I just wanted to show you this. If you are new here, if you are subscribed, you're going to get for tournament week, you get a media guide, which people tend to like. So I'm going to show you part of one of last year's because I had it up for the Biddeford thing anyway. So it looks kind of like this. It's a lot. There's more to it than this. This is just the section that was highlighting, looking at their schedule and everything. But then I realized it didn't have the numbers I wanted exactly. So you have the cool green bars over here on the right that give you a sense of the win percentage. And it's a good way to look at the team's schedule. Be like, oh, hey, they were really dominant for a stretch. And then, oh, I sort of fell off here. I wonder if someone was sick. Things like that. You get a breakdown of the games, win by 20, win by 10 to 20, single digits, the record in 2-possession games, where they should be seated if according to the model, how they did against teams in the region, against tourney teams, so much stuff. There's way more other stuff in other sections. This is just like probably it's 60% of it. But yeah, it's super helpful. And that comes with a subscription. So if you haven't already subscribed, you should do that because you're going to want that for tourney week. And then you're going to want the tournament odds. You're going to want what you're getting updated more or less every day. It takes a while to do them. So I'm trying to get them all up every day, but it's a whole thing. And you get the better heel points. You get all the stuff. You get the newsletter. You should really just do it because why not? It's $6 a month. Anyway, that's going to do it for the show. Let me find my outro thing. This has been a production of MaineBasketballRankings.com, your source for the most comprehensive coverage of Maine high school basketball from Ashland to York and everywhere in between. This podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts and a bunch of places you don't. If you enjoy this, please leave a nice review because it really does help out with algorithms. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. Thanks for listening.